There we go.
I can't figure out why you're putting it in the front instead of the back.
So,
I
You're
said,
gonna hear the story.
well,
All right, hold on, let me just get the bolts in.
this is on, or
It is
yes,
on.
okay. My name's Jim Kadamus. I'm the owner of 767 River Road Mystic. That was before you last October. You're familiar with the property. We built a garage behind the house and worked out very nicely. So now what we'd like to do is the next project is to build a 14 by 28. Your narrative said 24, but it really is 28. 14 by 28 above ground pool in front of the deck. Remember, the property is pretty
Yeah.
seriously sloped down in front of the house. And so the plan that we've submitted would actually build it into the hill so that the top of the pool would be just one step off the deck, the existing deck. And then the back of the pool, which is right by the driveway, would be about 6 feet high or so. And so it'd be a concrete construction. And the pool location is really the only feasible place we could do it on the property that wouldn't really have any impact on the wetlands. Other places would be really too close to the wetlands there. This is 29 feet from the water course. Remember, there's a stream that runs through the property. It's within the building limits of the property. We can see it. I'm gonna look over here. We've got it also up on top there.
Okay.
So you
Can
can,
you leave one for the camera?
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
There we go.
hold on,
Yeah. This equipment.
it's above you.
Okay, that's perfect. So,
Push it. Yeah,
there we go.
there we are.
So this is the house. There's a deck here. The pool would come off the corner of the deck, go across 28 feet. There would be a deck around that, like a small 4-foot wide deck around the pool deck to go around the pool. It'd be a step down, one step down from the existing deck. So it basically is most of it's going to be above ground, except for the part that's right by the house or right by the existing deck. The one complicated piece on this is that there is a existing sewer trench or septic trench that runs in front of the deck right now, right in the line where the pool is going to be. And so why the previous owners put it there, hard to know. Even Ledgelite questions that, but we put together a plan for Ledgelite. This is part of it that would change that trench, move it down the drive, put a pipe all the way down the driveway, and then we would have a new septic area where there's a grassy area down at the bottom of, down by River Road down here at the bottom of the property. It would be an Elgin Mantis septic system, so that would just be a one line, and there would be an overflow valve up on the top. So the two lines that are out by the house would primarily be the existing lines. This would only be for overflow, but it would be gravity fed because it's all downhill from the house down to that area of the property. So that is in front of Ledgelite. I expect to hear from them by the end of this week. That's what they've told me. And they've been to the property. We're there for the test holes, and they were the ones that suggested doing it there. So that's the plan.
How about the
question.
piping? What does the piping go across?
The pipe, it doesn't impact the wetlands because the culverts that go under the driveway. So there's two culverts. The wetland comes down, the water course comes down along here into the neighbor's property, across here, across the driveway, and then behind a garage. There's an old garage there, and then across again into other wetlands here. And the two pipes are down probably about 3 or 4 feet. The culverts.
You are crossing.
We're crossing above them, though. We're going above them. And those, we only have to go 18 inches with the 18 inches deep with the pipe. So we're crossing the two wetlands. But the contractors that I've talked to all have indicated that they would, the line of piping that would go over here, they wouldn't do any seams there. So it'd be a 20-foot line of piping without any seams in the pipe, so there couldn't be any seepage out of that pipe over the wetlands. So there would be 120 foot here and then again over here. So then they would do the gluing at other parts of it. So we would cross the wetlands twice, or the culvert, but not, we'd be above it. We'd be above the culvert, and we've measured and determined that we can go above the culvert without any interruption of the wetlands.
So just remind me, I've been on this property a long time ago when there was expansion of the house.
Yes.
But I don't think that I was here in October. I must have been traveling. So remind me, the wetlands, there's a stream on.
There's a stream on the, sort of southwest as the south side. So the street comes down through actually it starts in a pond up where the oral school is, comes down through the town of Groton's parklands, and then ends up, and there are other locations, other properties where it comes down also, but the previous owners, probably 3 owners ago, built a water course here that's quite deep. It's about 4 feet deep. And even in the biggest of storms, it doesn't overflow. Pardon me? Stone line,
Yeah.
a deep stone line, a couple waterfalls that go down, comes across my property, goes over to the neighbor's property, and then back into my property, across behind the garage, the old garage here, and then goes across again. And then here there's Fargamites and, big tall pieces there. And there's a ponding down there, and it ends up going across a culvert, across River Road into the river.
Isn't there another? The wetland on the other side, sorry. That's okay.
The wetland over here.
No, not, adjacent to your pool. So you say you're 29 feet from.
Yeah, this is just the same. That's the 29 feet, and that's the water course, and
It's
it
the
is
Stone line channel
still
water course.
stone line water about 4 feet deep.
But
Is it-
that wetland that goes on to the other property? I know we're not supposed to look at that, but just what's over on that?
Same thing. There's a stone culvert over there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all stone. It's all stone line. It's all stone line. Yeah.
Just go roughly the other side.
Over here, it comes,
On the other side, yeah.
over here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is all stone all the way down to the driveway, comes across here. This is not stone. This is just a waterway. Here, nothing.
Nope.
No wetlands.
That wetland boundary just ends.
It just ends. It comes down through here. There's a little water that comes over here, but everything up here is
There's
very
no
dry.
Break out from the hill there.
No,
Not
no,
really.
on his property, no.
No, I know.
On the adjacent property, I don't
Yes.
think the wetland ends at the boundary. I
Right,
think it
yeah.
does go on. to
It
the neighbor's
goes on to
property, but
the
it's
other
never been
people's property.
flagged.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's never-
but
Right.
everything above that towards the house, so, parallel to the pool area is there's a big drop off there down to the other property, but there's no wetlands there at all.
And do you mow up to that stone channel?
It's just all landscaping and
Yeah, it's landscape.
mulch and rock. There is no grass.
There's
No grass. The only grass on the property is down at the end where
Where the pool is, what does it look like now?
just a hill with some landscaping
Yeah.
on it.
Ground
Some
cover,
Cragmite.
ground
Cover,
cover
ground covers,
and
yeah,
some shrubs.
some shrubs that would get
but
pulled
not
out.
grass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's no mowing there. Yeah, rocky.
Yep.
and small rocks.
Oh, that's right. There's an electrical pole there, isn't there?
There's electrical pole
I just looked
over
at
on
it.
this side. The electrical pole is actually, see where the stones are, where these little
Yeah.
stones are there?
Yeah.
That's like riprap that we've put in there because
Okay.
occasionally, if this gets clogged up, what I've done is I actually have done a lot of improvements to this. We found out that there was a rock in the middle of that culvert pipe. We were able to get it out, and it was backing up, and the neighbors have had issues with the front previous owners. We got the rock out, and then what we did is we put a road grate, like you'd see on the road where where for the drain on the road grate. We were able to get one over in Westerly, had a landscaper install that road grate, and that has really improved everything. It catches any rocks or anything like that. Occasionally you got to clean the leaves out if we're away or something like that. Occasionally it would overflow there, but this riprap stops that. And the power pole is right by that riprap. So there's no power on, there is power that goes across to this old garage. And I know where that line is, when it's been marked by Eversource already.
Well, do we want to look at it again?
Well, it's your call. I feel a little embarrassed
I
that
mean,
I
I-
missed the last.
I know this, well, this property.
Yeah, we were here for the garage last fall, yeah.
Yeah.
Deb's been on it.
No, you didn't walk it for the garage.
No,
No, they didn't walk it. You decided not to
None
walk it
of
for
us
the
did,
garage.
yeah.
No. The last time I think you walked it was when
I think
when the
you,
house expanded.
Yeah.
you said if you want to come, you're welcome.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anytime.
So I think none of us.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think
No,
anyone,
I don't
anyone
think we
did.
did.
Anytime, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But I kind of like to look at this. I mean, I remember that's a pretty steep grade coming off the house. You're really high and.
Yeah, we're really high. We're about 32 feet above
Yeah.
here and down in this area. It's probably, 8 feet
Yeah.
above sea level there. So there's quite a drop, but
Right.
that's why the design that we have would be built into the hill. It'd be
Yeah.
almost like you've seen those infinity pool kind of things.
Yeah.
It's going to be something like
Yeah.
that. We'll have to put
Right.
some cladding over the concrete because it's kind of would look fairly not great, but
Yeah.
we would do that. And
And there's like a retaining wall on the lower slope. Right? It's built up.
What's
goes-
the retaining wall? for?
there isn't a retaining wall. in the
No,
lower slope.
but if
On
there's
the
the side of the pool,
thing it
I'm just
says
thinking
that.
if it's
On
level.
on two sides.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's what yeah.
by the pool here,
It says
Yeah.
it's required.
it says as required.
Yeah.
If that's something you think we should be doing, and I guess the building department would determine that, we would build a stone wall.
Any interest in walking? I'd love to have a peek.
Yeah, I'd kind
Yeah.
of like to.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah,
Even
I'll
though
show you
it's
we put when we built the garage. This is the garage that you approved. And you see that we had retaining walls built,
Yeah.
and there is plenty of stones on this property.
Yes.
Anytime you dig, there's lots of rocks. And
Yes.
so, and I've got a really good landscaper that specializes in building walls. And so, that's how that would be the kind of retaining wall we do if we need to. Depends on, when we build a concrete wall, that's gonna be some big footings. And so we'll see, there might be enough.
You're gonna have to blast.
I don't think so. Interestingly enough, all the ledge on this property is up behind the house, or where the house was probably, and where the garage. We did have to blast for the garage, but it was interesting that we were down to about, within a foot of where we had to be, and then we had to blast. We don't expect there's any ledge in front of the house. I've dug in there and there are plants and stuff. There's just nothing there. Plus, we also did a test hole on that hill. This one point, we're thinking about the possibility of moving the septic line there. And the test hole was easy. There was hardly any rocks in the test hole at all.
Mm.
So we've kind of already looked at the possibility of what's down there, and I just don't expect to see any ledge there. Ledge is really behind the house. Remember, back in here, there's kind of it's almost like a parkland up there with a lot of plants.
Yeah.
And this time of year,
It's
it's
a
really,
Real gardener.
yeah, it's really
used to-
beautiful now with all the blue stars and daffodils
Yeah.
and hyacinths, all kinds of things coming up that we didn't even know about because we weren't here last spring. And that is very rocky up there, and you
Yeah.
can see big giant boulders, and that's where the ledge is up there.
You wanna go look at it?
Yeah, let's.
All right, we should pick a date. What's good for you, Annie?
Depends on when it is. If it's next week, it'll have to be after school again.
I mean, next week, Wednesday, how's that?
Good.
Next week, Wednesday.
Time's good for you, Deb. 3 o'clock,
Wednesday is the
Is that good for you,
17th,
Andy?
is that right?
3 o'clock? Yes.
3:30 is better, right? Well, I thought you said.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think if it's a staff meeting
Yeah.
week. 3:30 would be better, just to.
All right, 3:30 is fine.
3:30 Wednesday,
Wednesday.
the
17th.
17th.
Yeah.
Works for us.
Yep,
All right.
all
See you
good.
then.
Okay,
All right, great.
thank you.
Thank you for a nice presentation.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You know, some friends of mine.
I remember that's on my agenda.
It's
That's
beautiful
a
back
Pretty
there.
impressive what they've done with it.
I remember the one on Star Street.
What's
That
that?
Star Street had a stone channel
Yes,
too.
yes, I do.
Thank you.
Next victim, just kidding.
And you said I was
That's
gonna
it.
be mean.
That's inviting.
Nice.
New business, 3 Kings Highway, preliminary discussion.
You really need to use the microphone?
It's for recording purposes. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Want me to sing?
Are you good?
I'm not bad.
Karaoke.
Karaoke's a little bit here and there.
Can you turn the, yeah, it's upside down on the screen, so turn it towards the agency. There you go. Nope.
Kings Highway.
Oh, you have.
I do. I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Paul Lucier. I've been here before with all of you. This is a piece of property that I own on 3 Kings Highway. This is Jim Cowan. I brought him along to help me with the presentation of the wetlands, and Jim did all the flagging of the wetlands for me on this property.
Does everybody know where this is?
No,
I'd like it to be located, yeah.
Okay, so the bowling alley is here
Yep.
on
Oh,
Kings
yeah.
Highway. This is where the old cow door was, I think.
Oh,
And that's an EB facility, and this is on the corner of Kings Highway and Bridge Street. Across the street
Oh,
is the
I know
U-Haul, the old Grossman's.
yes.
Yeah. So,
And over here, there's an apartment building.
some,
Be a hotel or a
I think it
motel?
might be,
There is.
yeah, I
There's
think
a
it's a
hotel,
hotel, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I bought this property. I went to the property with Jim. There's a existing structure, an existing, if you want to call it a structure, there's a foundation that's in very good shape with a building that has basically collapsed. So it's not a very good piece of a building, but it has a good foundation, 25 by 40. And my goal was to build a workshop for myself on this piece of commercial property. I'm a builder, as probably most of you know from another project that I did in town. I'm from East Lyme, but I'm moving to Groton. So I'm trying to get a piece of property that I can build my workshop on. So I bought the property and Jim came out and flagged all the wetlands. There's extensive wetlands on the property. This is all well, all through here. There's actually a stream that runs across the parking lot from EB and dumps onto here. And then also all of their storm drainage dumps onto here. So we have a stream, and then there's also an extended wetland, which I'd like Jim to kind of
Yeah.
explain what that is.
So, yeah, I guess I need this.
Can I
So,
just ask before you do, the building that we see now on there, is that your planned building or is that existing?
that's existing.
Hmm.
Okay.
it's a collapsed.
Yeah.
Just when we get a little bit further, I'll show you what that building looks like.
Yeah.
So, there is a culvert inlet here, which is partially buried. There's there's a pretty well-defined water course through here, but there's a overbank area that's been sand, silt, sediment for 50 years or however long that building's been there, because the stormwater is untreated. So anything that comes off the parking lot goes into here. As well as there's a water course that comes through. So it's a combination of groundwater and stormwater.
So there's a piped water course underneath the parking lot?
Yes,
at
yeah.
What used to be Caldor?
Un-
Yes.
Underneath the driveway, and then behind the bowling alley, it's open again.
Yeah.
And there's also drainage that comes from the highway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not, it's not just electric boat at this point.
Yeah.
So, I've been out there maybe 3 or 4 times and there's always been flow in the stream. And then when there's a storm, obviously, since it's a pipe, nothing is held back. And so it just rips through there. So there's a lot of sediment in here, and a large portion of this area is all porcelain berry. Open that just loves, disturbed situations. So that's taken over there. And the water course comes very close to the road, and there was like a log across the water course, and it's very broad and shallow as it makes this bend. So the water goes around this big log. And so I flagged out an area which I'm calling shallow SCF, for shallow concentrated flow. There's no wetland soils there, but clearly in a big event, there's always water there. So it just overbanks, or there's hardly a bank there, and flows in this direction. As it gets close to the building, part of the building is underwater or down, or not. There's a slab below the building. And so that's partially underwater. So I flagged right up to the edge of the building, around the building. Obviously, concrete's not a wetland. So, but if we were to remove that concrete, it would be a wetland. Okay. And so, and there were some piles of fill in here. There's an old utility crossing in here. I'm not sure what the access was, how they ever got in here, but it becomes wooded down here. This area is very open, becomes wooded down here, and a very steep slope along the edge, and makes a bend. And this is the hotel, and very steep slope over on this side, and very steep slope here. So it was not practical to try to flag the wetlands here.
Where does the water go?
There is a culvert, I believe here, that it goes under the road, goes under the road.
Do you think what percent of the water exits through that culvert? 90?
Well, I mean, this area is ponded, and there are some areas of phragmites and so forth. So I did not confirm any grades here. So I would say any of the water that comes through the stream would end up in the culvert, but water coming off the hillside and everything would be in the ponded area.
And that line with the numbers on it is the wetlands line?
Yes, this is the inner wetland line. Then there's a wetland line here. The outer wetland line comes here. I hit boulders, and I thought for sure I got to the property line, but I was there before the surveyor. And this becomes a steep boulder slope over here. And that was about as far as I could get. This whole site is heavily disturbed. There's large piles of gravel and fill in through here. In the backside here, there's a lot of knotweed, almost a solid stand of knotweed. And then you've got the porcelain berry here. There are some sizable trees in the wetland. And so I'm just kind of jumping ahead. My suggestion to Paul would be to come in through this open area. You wouldn't have to disturb any trees to come through there. And in the process could do some clean out of some of the
How would you get across the wetlands?
Well, culvert, put in a culvert, and
That's an awful wide area.
well, but bear in mind, the stream itself is maybe only 3 feet of that. And then it's so much sand from the years that it's porous. So the water, this is all very disturbed, particularly along this edge. And it's just like a sponge and just takes up the water, but there's really no
But
value.
the sand passes the water through.
Right, right, right.
So if you block it,
Well, the engineer would have to size a culvert to convey the flow that's there. And the other thing that could be done would be to above a culvert would be to clean this area out. So you're actually removing material and allow for a plunge pool or an area for sediment to drop out. And then we would do some improvements of the edge of the wetland, get rid of the invasives and plant some native trees and shrubs.
Those are significant costs.
I own the property, which choice I'm gonna do with that.
Yeah.
Where's
how
the
wide
current-
is that
You
area?
have a good business.
What's the distance? Yeah.
Let's see, what's our scale? I haven't scaled it. I haven't scaled it off, so
About 50 feet.
There's no scale.
No, it's 50, it's 30.
Oh, here it is.
What's the proposal for the building?
well, so we're gonna come to that. I'm just kind of
Okay.
doing the existing
Yeah. At
conditions.
least.
Where is the existing road that actually goes to that property?
There is none.
Well, the best we can kind of tell is the sidewalk bumps out toward the street right there.
Ah.
There's actually a sewer stub that's been installed at some point before I left. Right? And. so
That's
that's
all
it.
King's
We're
Way.
assuming that this used to be where the driveway.
Oh, yeah, right.
So there was a,
What's the distance?
Oh, 60 feet.
That's what I figured. It's a long ways.
So is most of the water that's coming in that you were, that channel, it's coming off the parking lot? Just
it's a,
runoff off that parking lot?
A lot of them.
a
There's
lot of,
also a water
it
course,
goes,
the
it,
underground pipe and the underground pipe.
so
So
it's,
is it, but is it part of the drains from right this?
yes,
EB is just north of there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's part of their
Yeah.
storm drain system discharging water onto this property.
right,
Right.
untreated
In
stormwater.
addition to a water course that comes,
Yes.
In
that comes
addition to a
behind,
water course.
right, exactly. It's not strictly electric boat discharge that creates this water course. There historically was a water course there before the bowling alley was built and before
Yeah.
outdoors was
Before all that
built.
stuff
Right. And it-
started
And it
contributing.
became
Yeah.
really
Exactly.
distressed.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then you also mentioned something off the highway, you mean the I-95?
Yeah, the
I know.
clover
I
leaf
was-
that's
that's
all
Yeah.
up there on Kings
Yeah.
Highway. Yeah, they discharge into
Right.
this system as well.
Yeah.
And then your building is in or right up to the
Right up near
wetlands.
it, and
Yeah.
actually this piece is kind of in it.
Yeah.
So I don't have any problem removing that. I don't want this, I just want this.
It looks like
Mhm.
that's very close.
That's right up tight to the
Yeah.
wetlands too.
Yeah,
And so
Yeah.
you said you're, what are you gonna have to do
Yeah.
in that building?
Put my workshop there.
Right, and what are you gonna do?
What
with
kind of
your
work?
I'm a builder, so,
Chemical, I'm looking.
no,
for
not
chemical.
chemicals, no.
That's
So we store ladders there, we'll put
Yeah.
our wheelbarrows, our
Right.
tools, that type of thing. It won't be,
Gas.
That's a lot of
No.
equipment for just ladders and wheelbarrows and tools.
well, I mean, my workshop right now is twice as big as that, and I
Yeah.
don't have enough room, so.
So your proposal would be to use the foundation that exists and maybe removing that piece that.
Correct, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And so then you wouldn't be doing any more soil disturbance.
About parking.
Well, they were, they need.
So I have a drawing
parking,
of that
and
here
then they
too,
need
that
a
I can
road.
show you. I wanted
They
to
need a
show
road to
you,
their property.
I wanted to show you the preliminary, you know, what is currently there.
Yeah.
So then what we did was we took some photos.
Oh, wow, yes.
I saw the, I couldn't.
So we
couldn't
took
tell
some
where it
pictures. This is, you got that on there, Doug? This is my beautiful building that I
Yeah.
currently own. That is about ready to fall down, that we want to take
Yes.
down. It's a blighted property in the town. I'd like to deal with that and take care of
Mm-hmm.
it. Not to mention that wetland's full of debris, garbage. The
Yeah.
grocery carriages,
Yeah.
nip bottles, all kinds of stuff. I'd like to clean that all up. I'd like to make this a really pretty corner, and I'd like to build that on that pretty
Mm.
corner.
That's a
Oh.
lot bigger than that.
Well, that's only a quarter of the building. The rest of it fell down.
So the foundation is
But the
bigger. We're
found-
not.
Yeah, the
seeing
foundation, this is only about 10 feet of it.
Yeah.
That foundation extends about 30 more feet.
So could you just point to that on this map?
Yeah,
Your
so,
footprint is
so,
what the
yeah,
footprint
that's
is.
exactly the right footprint. So what you see there is only about the first 10 feet
Mhm.
right here, near the water. So then the rest of it has collapsed inside the foundation, but there's not one crack in that foundation, which made me like it.
Interesting,
I
yeah,
thought this is an amazing 12-inch thick foundation
yeah.
that a building could be put on, and I thought,
Sure.
and has a basement
It
that's
does have a
dry. It
basement,
does,
yeah,
it does, so,
and it's dry, that's a miracle.
yeah.
I have a lot of problems being that close to the
I
wetland.
know.
Is this walkable?
Oh, yeah, you might
So
want to wear your boots.
Well, I mean, depends on after a rain event.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Settling down, you can walk across here, you put down.
I had put down a 2x10. We had gotten permission to go in and do some transect lines so that Jim could come out and flag everything. And so this looks more wooded than it actually is. These pictures kind of show how it's open. You could see in there.
This is the area, so
Yeah.
this is the trees here are in the wetland of the building here, but this area all through here is porcelain berry and.
Yeah.
Japanese
Mhm.
knotweed.
Yeah.
Why don't you show them what your proposal
Sure.
is? I mean, this is a preliminary discussion. We have
Right.
no application.
Right.
Yes.
I'm not planning to do it tomorrow or
You
anything.
can, but there's no application yet. So, yeah.
So what I did was, I thought, geez, I'd really like to extend it even further than what it currently is.
Oh, you were right, Dave.
But
Yeah.
that's why it's a preliminary discussion.
Exactly.
You know how these builders.
But that's.
I know how it
Brian.
works.
Yeah, we know how. it works.
So when my wife throws me out, I gotta have a place to live. No,
Yeah.
only kidding. But nevertheless, this seemed to make the most sense to come in where Jim's talked about, up this side over here. And you come across the wetland with a culvert, come in with a small parking area that leads up to the building. We get rid of this piece over in here. And we just clean up the wetland, however that makes sense with, the correct people involved. Jim especially, and this would not be a paved driveway. This would be more of a crushed stone or something that would be pervious, yeah. So,
But back to Dave's question, so you have a culvert obviously sized properly, but you still have how wide is that culvert? 4 feet at the most, right? So you still have another 50.
50 feet, you're filling in the wetlands.
right. That's what we're thinking,
Right. And so.
but it's not exactly a pristine wetland when you see it.
Understood,
But it
No
drains
question.
a lot.
but that doesn't mean it's not functioning as a wetland.
Correct,
And so we definitely want to maintain the functions and enhance, and so we're removing a building and restoring this area that,
Yeah, that's not gonna,
I don't think.
How
how
that's
about
an
a
inventory.
bridge?
I was thinking a bridge.
Yeah.
Bridge across the wetland.
some sort of bridge,
Some sort
but
of
that's what it
Pre-stressed.
takes.
Pre-stressed bridge across those wetlands.
or, I don't know if you put in, a couple of piers, and so you, I mean, I don't know the engineering
yeah.
part of what's.
And I mean, this is my drawing, this is not an engineered drawing, so I have no idea what size this culvert would need to be, so.
Yeah.
Maybe we do something large
Yeah,
that,
to me, just based on that, so I would have a little bit of a trouble with just filling in the rest of it.
sure,
Yeah, I would have a lot of trouble with it.
We're being nice. Remember, it's Wednesday. We're being nice.
My
Can I-
question is,
Can I just ask why you couldn't just do a short driveway from the edge of the property that, I mean,
Hmm.
maybe get
be way up here,
an easement from whoever EB or
Hmm.
whoever that is? Why can't you
You have
just?
to have security to go through that gate to. eat,
Yeah, I
right?
don't
Maybe
think-
they could
Oh,
sell
yeah.
you just a strip.
Well, there's.
I mean, come in this way and come in this way.
Yeah, you'd have to
It's
get.
not a bad
permission
idea,
from
except-
EB.
There's a very steep drop off
Yeah.
there.
Mm.
It's at least 20 to 30 feet.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, it is.
So this doesn't show the steepness here or the steepness over here. These are very steep
Yeah.
Yeah.
areas. And all along here is steep, so, when that was filled, flattened to make cow doors and so forth, there's a lot of fill.
yeah.
Yeah, this is, I think, even a concrete wall that runs the whole way.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I just want
Again,
to,
logistically, EB's never gonna let that.
yeah, it's, yeah.
No, never gonna let them go
There's a
across there.
Security pass there.
You'd be driving through their parking lot,
There's no
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
That's just, I can just tell you
Yeah.
right now.
So this is not the only wetland disturbance that might be proposed here. There's also the utility connection in a
Right.
different location.
So the existing utility is right there. Holes across the street. So I was proposing, and that's why, again, it's a preliminary, that's
exactly.
why I wanted to come and discuss
Yep.
this, so that
Yep.
when we do actually design it, we design it the way you guys want.
And that would be a temporary
Right.
disturbance,
Right.
wetland disturbance.
Mhm.
And what is the disadvantage of putting the road there? I mean,
You would disturb-
parallel to the same.
Well, there would be two problems. One is you disturb some massive trees.
Right.
Hmm.
Whereas this area over here is impaired. Both the uplands and the wetlands.
The nicest tree on the property is pretty much right there. It's just a gigantic maple tree or something. Isn't that a maple tree, Jim?
I believe so.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's
just a big
also,
round
there's
maple
also
tree.
some large cottonwoods.
Hmm.
But there are some piles of fill in here,
Right.
and I don't know if those, maybe that's how they accessed it. I don't know
Yeah.
what they did for an entryway here. But the other problem with down here is you're close to this intersection.
Yes.
So you gotta maintain this
Yeah.
from the intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have a driveway in and out.
Right.
I mean, I'm not an engineer, but that would just be in terms of siting.
And honestly, this is not the most important thing to me. If we get it through one spot, we can get the utilities through the same spot.
Mhm.
We can run a wire across, it's a shop. I'm not trying to make it amazingly beautiful, but I'd like to make it pretty. We could run the wire from across the street overhead. And water and sewer could come around through whichever,
Mhm.
wherever we have to. So it doesn't have to be a double spot. It just seems to make the most sense to put it there.
Yeah, so the shortest distance.
Yeah, I'm a newbie to this town, but is this facility, are you saying this facility was a Caldors?
No, next door
No,
was.
next door was a
Next door
Caldors,
was,
right? No,
Yeah,
okay.
what's now EB?
Caldors and ShopRite?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
Oh, that was a long.
It's now
time
EB.
ago.
Right, and in between that, it was a Pfizer facility.
Yeah,
So-
so
Yeah.
that's right. EB, so what
Yeah.
What was the facility had, what was this facility previously?
This thing, kind of, I don't know.
It's
No,
always
it's
looked like this
just
as
like
long as
that.
I've been here.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I tried to find out the history
Yeah.
of this piece of property and no one seems to know anything
I mean,
about
it
it.
looks like it
except
was a
that
house.
It's been vacant for a long time.
I have a lot of trouble filling that much wetland, I'll tell you right now. I also have trouble building a building that close to the wetlands. You know, that we normally have setbacks
Sure.
and, that's.
And
not-
if it was not existing, I wouldn't even ask.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have even bought it, but because it's,
Well, it's not really, it's not really existing.
it's
Well,
concrete.
Foundation.
There's a foundation there, but there's no building there to speak
Yeah.
of. It's not like it's an existing building.
Pretty much a blighted existing building that needs to come down, it needs to be cleaned up, and I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. You want to go and look at it on Wednesday?
It's up to you guys. I mean, that we don't have an application yet.
Yeah,
They're
so we
they're
don't
just
really
kind
have
of
to do it
looking for
Right now.
Yeah.
what issues they need to focus on when and if they do
Exactly.
make their application. I mean, I've talked to them a bit about some of the issues that you brought up. The driveway, probably you are going to want a public hearing. If
Yep,
if it's
undoubtedly.
if it's that amount of fill, unless it's adjusted, right? So, yeah. And if that's the case, then you will have to find that there's no prudent or feasible alternative to what they're proposing. So he'll need to, present evidence of other options that he's looked at and explain why those are either not prudent or not feasible. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. You said there's a buried culvert or somewhat buried. If that were cleaned out, would that collect a lot of the water that comes across?
That's part of my suggestion. The culvert that enters the property is partially buried with sand and sediment.
Yeah.
Which is why this has all developed as it has. If you, I spent a lot of time digging holes over here. Because it did not look like a wetland or feel like a wetland. It kind of undulates, but as I went down, it was like road sand. Down 30 inches.
Wow.
And so the water is migrating over here, but if you were to look at this area, you would not think of it as a wetland. There is a swale that comes up here, which I caught part of, and the swell actually continues up, that does get road runoff on the Kings Highway. But it wasn't wetland all the way up, so you are getting contribution from Kings Highway as well. But like I say, there's not wetland vegetation here, it's porcelain berry and it's road sand. So part of what we've done in this area would be to actually improve the wetland by cleaning it out. Removing the sand, the road sand that was there, the deposition. And so by doing that, you're going to have more volume here for storage and for settling. We could put in something that would maybe slow the flow. We work with an engineer like a plunge pool type situation so that
Does the culvert connect with the underground pipe?
yes, it is the end of the underground pipe.
Oh, you mean it comes up
So there's.
or it comes down and stops
It comes down.
Oh,
There's
I
the
see what you
enters
mean.
The property here.
and then
but-
stops?
But because the sediment has built up higher than, about half the culvert is
It's buried.
buried.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
there's that much sand at least, just in the channel, okay? Plus what has overbanked over the years. So this is basically overbanked road sand.
And then there's lots of things like, what almost look like beaver dams, trees that have fallen, debris that's collected.
Oh, yeah,
So
I
the
know.
water course doesn't know where to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've had such significant rain events that I think there's a
Lately.
lot of.
And that's
Yeah.
what Jim's talking about, the water goes all over.
Yeah,
It's really a
just-
pretty defined stream, but it hits all these things and it moves the water everywhere. So
Yeah, and the frequency of
Yeah,
these
it's-
insane, yeah.
It's kind of fun to watch.
So let me just, so I know you love your foundation. So I'm following on Dave's comments. I mean, so you see, the goal is to have the least impact
I totally understand,
as possible. That's what we're about.
of course.
We're trying to be balanced, we're always trying to be balanced. So could you consider moving that building? Again, I know you like the basement.
I mean.
These are all things that you're asking
You know,
for.
It
to
makes more
consider.
sense to put it in the middle, I mean,
Sure.
we could probably do that.
Yeah. 'cause
Where
you're
do you
asking
wanna
for
move it?
Informal commentary,
Yeah.
and I'm just suggesting things that.
And that is exactly why I'm asking, because I
Yeah.
want to know what you guys are thinking.
So
I
you
agree.
you have a limited amount of area here. It
Put
looks
away,
like you have
yes.
about, I don't know, I'm just gonna say roughly, this is about 100 feet wide. I don't know. I don't have my scale thinger, but just eyeballing it to me. So maybe if you could change the orientation of the building and those are the sort of things.
You're in the building 90 degrees.
If I were
Yeah.
trying
Now you're in the
to,
middle. of
yeah.
the Drive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then again, I personally would need to walk this property. But I have great confidence in Mr. Cowan, but I would need to have some,
I would want you to anyway.
yeah,
I think
and just some
see it.
real careful consideration of how you're gonna cross there. And I like your idea of moving utilities up with it.
Couldn't the
Yeah, I mean, it's-
culvert be connected to something in Kings Highway and then it wouldn't be running all over?
Well, it actually,
then you'd make
it outlets and exits here, so
Yeah.
there's nothing, I mean, there's business over here.
And there's another hotel.
You call here and there's another hotel, and then there's a culvert outlet that goes.
To say the area hasn't been impacted would be an understatement.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and so,
So we have this little oasis that's trying its best it can to, so that would.
I
be
mean,
what I would
honestly,
say.
the foundation is why I bought the property, but I'm not opposed to moving the foundation up, I need to.
Yeah.
You know, there's gonna be some work that we have to do that has a bunch of windows in it that we're gonna have to fill in. You know, so there's gonna be some cost involved, even with that foundation, and if I would have.
And also some heavy equipment to get that basement, that foundation out, right?
You're right, you're right.
I mean, that's a disturbance in itself.
They'd have
Try
to
to get
build
that.
the crossway first.
Yes,
I know, but still, what's a lot
Yeah.
get out of it?
Well, when you can look at an absolute recommendation, where it goes to disturbance.
Yeah.
That's what
I mean, the advantage of the present foundation is that it's there.
Yeah.
When you walk the property, you say, if somebody's willing to fix this thing, we should let them fix it. And it's a
Yeah.
mess.
No,
Yeah.
I suspect
It's a
you're correct.
mess.
Yeah,
Not
I,
necessarily.
Again,
well,
the park, we're what, how far from a huge parking lot, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get where you, but I think I'm open-minded.
yeah,
But
I
I'm
wanna
not-
be too.
I'm
I am
open-minded.
too.
I'm not signing off.
no.
But
I was hoping for that tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah.
So that.
I
those
feel
are-
the same way,
those are-
you know, and I like to look at it.
Too. I think there's a fair amount of dry land that we could work with,
Yeah,
but I think I'm gonna have to compromise with you folks,
Mhm.
and I'm fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's definitely impairment, both in terms of, the fill grading, incomplete grading,
Mhm.
and then invasives that have come in and, an unmaintained building that's dilapidated. And then all of the inputs from stormwater have come in here. Very steep bouldery slope over here on the
Yep.
hotel property. That's, I mean, it's been filled boulder, I mean, there's huge boulders,
Yeah.
6, 8, 10 deep.
So that's
Wow.
a granite kind of outcrop kind of thing, that's boulders?
No, it's Phil.
Yeah, it's
I think it is too. I think
I
it's
thought that
probably
was
when they
like
built the
I thought,
hotel.
why would you-
yeah, everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
When they built,
So just, I just need clarification, because I am a little with Barbara, so there's a water course, before a million years ago, there was a water course that came through there. We're not
Mhm.
really sure where, it's now piped underneath
the parking.
the EB.
Parking lot.
The EB driveway. It's not
Just
under the
the EB
big,
driveway.
yes, it's not
Oh.
the big parking lot.
It is. It runs right across the middle of that parking.
Mm.
It does. We walked it and
Okay,
I don't have. a
Oh,
plan.
no, I know what you're saying.
So,
I know
yeah,
exactly
here's
what you're
the
saying.
land. The stream is here. Stream is the bowling alley.
wait a minute, I gotta get my glasses on.
So this is the bowling alley.
Yeah,
The stream runs basically here, it picks up someplace in here, runs all the way across that parking lot and dumps out.
really,
Okay.
wow.
it's
And then
definitely
where
underneath that.
is the culvert that drains the parking lot?
Right there.
So one is underneath and one is a culvert that goes, dumps into this. And
Well, Barbara. On the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It connects on the EV side into that culvert.
how does it connect?
Is there
I don't know.
a storm basin there?
Yes.
See my question,
There is.
I'm just.
There's not, is there not a basin, there's a catch
There's
basin.
a
Catch
catch
basin.
basin. There's a couple of them along the edge and they all go
There's
into it.
catch basins and
Do you
they're
understand my
piped,
question?
they're
Beth?
piped into that.
What is-
And we have flagging from Electric Boat and Pfizer.
Okay,
So when we get to that point, we
Okay.
can share that with you.
okay.
This actually might be an older picture because I believe this parking lot has been extended.
Yes, it has.
Mm.
It has.
So.
That's right.
Yeah, this was, I just grabbed this off of Google.
Yeah.
And so these two pictures then are along that,
Right,
so the
that's
catch
highway.
basins along that,
That's
that's
correct.
along, is it that King's Highway?
That is.
Yeah,
Kings
yeah.
Highway, yeah.
Okay.
So that's about in this general.
Yeah,
area right here.
yeah.
And so the trees are in the background. There's a few trees up here by the catch basin. On either side, but then it's open. Gee, I think the parking, I think you're right. The parking lot's extended and I think the stream was actually here,
Mm.
right there.
Where's Oleo's?
Just a little further up.
Yeah.
Yeah, up the street, yeah.
Oh, okay. Up
like
there,
that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Well, they're
tricky
on-
little
above
lot.
All right, so
Is-
you want us to wait for them to have an application?
Yeah.
I mean,
We should.
I think
We might
so.
as
I mean, I think
well.
they
But you
understand
already
what you're
answered some
saying.
questions for me
Exactly.
Because, that's probably out of
Yeah.
question. Moving the foundation is probably part of what I'm gonna have to do. So you already helped me with that. I didn't wanna spend a whole bunch of money to get all this designed and find out I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured it was more important for me to come
Yeah.
talk to you about it and say.
You
Well,
think about that,
and
Dave,
figure out
is
the
that-
button crossing a little more.
You think
carefully.
that will the building?
I think
Least
so.
impact
Turn it
possible.
90 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would turn it 90
Yeah.
degrees, and maximize it on the land,
Yeah,
Yeah,
away from the wetland.
it actually might look prettier facing, if we build something like that.
yeah,
to
it'd
look
look
facing-
really
facing the
nice,
street.
wouldn't it,
Yeah.
facing,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
and give
just
some
means
thought
you
to
enter
how much
from the
parking
end,
you
that's
really
all.
need. Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
Great, thank you all very much.
Some ideas?
Some ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, was there any other drawings that you had here?
Only that and then, well, this and that. That's the original, this is
Yep.
what I kind of sketched up and then I did this today just to kind of give you some ideas of what's there.
Yeah.
Is that your own design or is that a country carpenter's building?
I pulled up. I can't tell you that I drew that.
Yeah,
But I love it.
yeah,
Look
yeah, it's
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, if my wife does throw me out, I'm not gonna mind living in that place.
no, looks kind of like an Amish.
He's not gonna throw you out.
We've been married 35 years.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, thank you very much.
Okay.
Anything else? Anything else? No.
Let's see the paper. Report of chair, that's you.
Yep, no, I don't have anything at all.
Yeah,
There's nothing I've seen going on. You haven't seen anything?
Well, I'd seen a bunch the last time, but it seems to all have, they're working on the house on Fishtown Road.
Yep.
Having silt
Which
fences
house
up.
is this? The one
Well-
that's not,
Deb says she thinks it's a spec house.
it is. Yeah, the one across from the school
Yep.
on Fishtown.
And then the other business where they were just going
On the
in there,
corner?
they're- Yeah,
Yep.
they.
what is that?
well,
What is
they-
going
they-
on
they-
there?
They just made a little mistake and now it's stopped. That mistake.
It has stopped. 2 days ago, we got a sediment and erosion control plan, which is something that has to be filed if you're gonna clear more than half an acre. It's been out for review. We had a number of comments. I expect some revised plans. They had the wetlands flagged on the property. At this point, they're showing, 100 feet off of the wetland to not be disturbed, as well as 150 feet from Eccleston Brook, which is on the other side
Side, yeah.
of Fishtown Road. But still, there are some revisions that need to be made. And so for right now, they're not clearing anything.
Okay, so are they planning?
Don't know.
Multiple dwellings? or
Do
what?
not know.
Nothing,
Absolutely,
no?
no. No, my understanding from the gentleman who's doing the clearing is that we just want to see what we have before we, that kind of thing.
Right.
We have no plans. We've had no discussions with anyone about subdivisions or just
Oh,
one house or
interesting, yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Digger's still sitting in a puddle.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is.
Who's the owner of record on that property? I know
You
that's
know,
public
it is,
knowledge.
it is, it's Sam Sisiski, who died some time ago, so it's, right, yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
was thinking.
Yep.
So his estate.
his estate, yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay.
All right, you have anything, Deb?
No, I don't have anything else.
All right, a motion for adjournment,
You got it.
second
Second.
discussion?
Just steps.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye, opposed? Abstentions?
All
Done.
right.